Welcome to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour with your hosts, the ConKaiserdor and old school Avis Hathaway. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job.
This is the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour right here on Blog Talk Radio. I am the ConKaiserdor, and alongside with me is old school Avis Hathaway. And it is very, very exciting to be on location tonight at Do Your Job Studio South, as I'm in town for the weekend, as I recently did attend Game 7 of the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics playoff last night. So we'll get to that in just a little bit here. So we're going to bring you some great stuff tonight, as tonight I only had a chance to catch up with, for the first time, that NWA Ring Warriors back in March will be on the show live with us tonight. He is a second-generation superstar whose father and uncle are not only WWE Hall of Famers, but also professional wrestling legends. So tonight we're going to bring you the very talented Wes Brisco to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. So stay tuned, as in just a little bit, you will be with us right here on the show. Old Avis Hathaway, Bud, what's up there?
Oh, not much. You know, we're actually, you say alongside all the time. We actually are alongside here. You're doing the show, like you said, live from Do Your Job Studio South. So a little bit of a treat. I think this is only the second time we've broadcasted live in the same studio.
Certainly are. It is very, very exciting here. So we're excited to be really close to one another here, guy. I feel like I'm right near you.
Well, that's probably because you are right near me. Anyway, moving on, we do have an exciting interview, as you mentioned, tonight with Wes Brisco. I'm sure everybody knows Wes Brisco. If not, he is the son of J.O.B. Brisco, former FCW talent. He had an injury with FCW, kind of cut his run short there. That's something we'll get into with him as long as everything else. So looking forward to that.
Indeed. So before we get into any wrestling talk, guy, I do want to go ahead and talk a little about the Miami Heat, guy. The Miami Heat took home Game 7 last night against the Boston Celtics. And all I can say there, guy, is it was really exciting to be at that game, watching them beat the Boston Celtics. And, guy, I came all the way from Baltimore to that game. And all I can say is, let's go Heat. So it's very exciting there, bud. Miami Heat, man, they are going to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know the Heat's going to win that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough series. Oklahoma City, Durant, Westbrook, Harden. They got Cephalosha. They got Serge Ibaka. They got tons of great young talent there, and they've been playing like they're on a mission. But hopefully LeBron can get it done this time. You know, everybody's been hating on LeBron. Hopefully he can bring home that first ring and shut some of those critics up. So I will be rooting for the Miami Heat, as I'm sure a lot of people will, and, you know, I know a lot of people won't. Judging by Twitter over the past few nights, there's a lot of Celtics fans out there and Heat haters, so at least they were shut up.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of Celtics fans there. There definitely were. There was actually a group of fans that were a bunch of midgets dressed like leprechauns, actually, in the front row down below. It was actually kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it was a great game last night. I'm really happy I came down to watch that game, as there's nothing like going to a Miami Heat game live at the AAA. So great stuff there, guy. Great stuff. So let's kind of go ahead and move on to some wrestling news. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world of wrestling here, as we had a pay-per-view going on tonight, guys. Slammiversary from TNA Wrestling. Want to go ahead and talk about that card tonight?
Yeah, I mean, if we must. No, I'm just kidding. You know, TNA is throwing Slammiversary together tonight. We'll run down the card a little bit. I mean, it's already, I'm sure, in progress. I haven't actually checked the results, so there'll be no spoilers here if you're waiting to maybe watch the pay-per-view later. I mean, at the top of the card, it's a championship match between Bobby Roode and Sting. What can I really say about that? I mean, what do you think about that match, ConKaiserdor?
Well, I don't really have much of an opinion, guy. I mean, I left my opinion at the door when I came in here tonight at Do Your Job Studio South. I think it's great that Roode has the belt. However, not really too sure why Sting's in this match. I thought Sting was like the general manager. Why is he now wrestling? Like, he's only been the GM for what, maybe a month or two?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we've talked about ad nauseum that nobody understands exactly what's going on in the minds of TNA. We spoke a little bit about it with Jesse Neal last week. Again, if you didn't listen to that interview, please check the archive out. It was a great interview. But, sometimes with TNA, there's questionable booking, to say the least. And this is an example of that. I mean, I understand, again, maybe you're trying to use Sting to elevate Bobby Roode, but Bobby Roode should be your top guy. He's your title holder. You should be building a brand around him, and I really don't see him, either winning or losing to Sting. It doesn't do anything for him, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. I really am not too sure where this is going to go, but I think TNA is kind of known for those kinds of storylines, where they do things like this, and it really doesn't amount to anything. There's some other decent stuff on the show tonight, but nothing to really write home about. I got to say, it seems like a pretty lackluster pay-per-view. Maybe on paper it looks that way. Maybe live it might turn out to be a better show. But the only show I'm really looking forward to is maybe the Bully Ray Joseph Park match, or maybe the Austin Aries Samoa Joe. That would be about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Samoa Joe and Austin Aries, they're both, phenomenal wrestlers. I'm sure they'll put together a great match. The rest of the card is, there's a lot of good wrestlers on the card. There's, I'm sure, a lot of good people on the card, but it doesn't excite me. When you talk about Hardy versus Van Dam versus Mr. Anderson, it doesn't do anything for me. All the other matches, I know you got Devon and Garrett Bischoff teaming together. It's, it just seems a little thrown together, especially for a show that's Slammiversary. It should really mean something. The one thing I did want to get into on this show, they're going to be, we talked about it last week, the TNA Hall of Fame will be announced, at least the first inductee of it. And the rumor has it is that it's going to be Christian. Christian is live in Texas, I think, this week. Regardless, Christian is at the TNA pay-per-view, which a lot of people are saying, wait, what? Yes, Christian, the current IC title holder for WWE is there. And apparently it has something to do with the fact that TNA let Ric Flair be at the WWE's Hall of Fame, so it's some sort of exchange program. Apparently WWE doesn't really care too much about Christian, to be honest with you, so they agreed to let him appear on TNA's pay-per-view. He's not going to be wrestling, but supposedly he's going to be the first inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. And while I love Christian, I have no idea how he deserves to be in any Hall of Fame for TNA, as he was only there for a fairly short amount of time.
That's true, and if he's going to be the first inductee, then it kind of goes back to our conversation last week. It kind of makes TNA's Hall of Fame a little bit of a joke, because no disrespect to Christian. He's a great wrestler in his own right. But a Hall of Fame, your first inductee, he really wasn't with the company very long. And he had a decent run. He had definitely a decent run. However, I just don't believe that would be someone I would induct. Maybe a Sting, yes. We talked about Sting. I get Sting. But Christian, I don't know. I just don't see anything really positive about that there whatsoever. So
I was going to say, the other name I could see for TNA for Hall of Fame would be Jeff Jarrett. And, yeah, everybody could say, well, that's putting himself over, blah, blah, blah. But at least he's been there pretty much from inception, and he's done everything he can to try to take that company to the next level. So I would think you would put Jeff Jarrett in there sooner rather than later if you're going to do a Hall of Fame. That's not to endorse him or say he deserves it per se, but Christian, it makes no sense to me. It's almost more just to stick it to WWE, it seems like to me.
Well, I know you'd be pleased with Jarrett going in, because back when we were at a Wrestle Reunion, you were quite pleased to see one Jeff Jarrett in white jeans. That really excited you.
Well, I know that you did. Quick funny story.
Oh, God.
The ConKaiserdor actually did call Jeff Jarrett late at night. He had talked to CM Punk at this convention, and CM Punk said, here's my room number, give me a call later. Well, when he called that room, of course it was not CM Punk's room, it was Jeff Jarrett's room, so he called him in the middle of the night and disturbed him, which was, I'm sure CM Punk got a big laugh out of, and I got a big laugh out of. He was quite embarrassed and apologized to Jeff Jarrett the next day, but I thought it was pretty funny.
See, that's one of our rib stories, Guy. One of our personal stories.
It is a rib story from the road.
From the road. It is.
That's for Y2 Jibber Jabber.
Well, Y2 Jibber Jabber is jabbering away in the chat room here. He's the chat room commander, and he always enjoys a good rib story. So he got one a little early this evening. I did want to get to something else there, Bud. Something very near and dear to us is the website, which is very well known for wrestling news and headlines and stuff of that nature. ProWrestling.net covered one of our most recent interviews with former TNA superstar Jesse Neal. If you have not had a chance to check that out, please do so. Just go to prowrestling.net, and that interview is featured on their page. So thanks very much to prowrestling.net for doing that. That is really awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's one of the biggest and most trusted wrestling news websites out there on the internet. Jason Powell is I'm sure a lot of people know who Jason Powell is that listen to internet radio. You'll hear him on several different radio shows. But his website did take the time to cover our most recent interview with Jesse Neal, and we definitely appreciate that. I want to send thanks out to not only Jesse Neal for taking the time to do the interview with us, but also ProWrestling.net for taking the time to cover it and put it up on their website.
Something else I wanted to get to that it almost kind of makes me laugh a little bit along the lines of the TNA Hall of Fame. That is the new WWE title belt. Dude, that must be the ugliest piece of shit I've ever seen.
You know what? I have been crusading ever since they came out with the spinner belt to get a new title belt because I thought that title belt was a joke. It made sense for John Cena, but didn't really make sense for anybody else to have it. The minute Edge won that belt from him, and I think it was New Year's Revolution, I was like, change the belt. Well, now that I see the new belt that's supposedly going to be the new WWE title belt, I'm all for keeping the spinner belt because this thing is – I thought the tag team belts were bad, the giant pennies. Oh, my God. If you haven't seen it, do a Google search. You'll be able to find the image of the proposed new WWE title belt. It just looks like this big, gold, gaudy piece of shit. It's awful.
I think the toy tag team title belt that you have from Toys R Us is better than this new belt.
It's true, and I do actually have a toy tag team belt from Toys R Us. I don't remember where, but I don't bring it to shows with me, though. I'm not one of those guys that,
I bought it for you. Come on, guy. You don't remember when I got you that title? Because, at one point we had a major falling out like Jannetty and Michaels, and, well, we all know what happened there.
Exactly. I was the Michaels. You were the Jannetty. I turned heel on you, and you ended up on a meth bender somewhere in Alabama.
I'm the one that put you through the barbershop glass window.
No, you're the one who ended up on like a meth bender in Alabama or wherever.
Why's it got to be Alabama?
Well, isn't that where Jannetty was? I don't know. You know what? I apologize to all the Alabamans listening to the show if I offended you.
You should. Lash LaRue lives in Alabama, guy. Come on, he's a former guest of the show.
It is, and he's actually a very good guy as well, so.
He certainly is. If you are listening live to the show, you want to call in, you certainly can at 714-694-4101. You can also jump into the chat room, as it's also available on our Blog Talk page at blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. And make sure you are following us on Twitter at doyourjob_between the J.O.B. and like us on Facebook. You can just find us at the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, which I do want to speak about, guy. I do want to talk about our Facebook page. I am pleased to announce that we have officially broke 100 followers, guy. We broke 100 followers, and you know what? I think that deserves a round of applause. We certainly did. We broke it, guy. So how does it make you feel?
I think you have a drop that should tell you how it makes me feel.
Do I? I think I do have a drop that on how you feel.
Frankly, I haven't felt anything like this ever.
There you go. Great thanks to the Hebrew Hammer, Ben Stark, for that. No, I think it's great. It's still a couple hundred behind our Twitter account, but hopefully we can get it caught up. And if I remember correctly, when we hit 100, you were supposed to do some sort of a contest.
I certainly was. And actually, as we were speaking, another like just came in for the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. And I want to speak about this guy because we have a little bit of a war going on between you and I here. Because you know what? I feel like the Twitter number is skewed. And let me tell you why. The Twitter number is skewed because there's a lot of spammers on Twitter. And a lot of the fans that I see, some of them like the page are spammers. Every like on the Do Your Job page is a real person that I either know, have talked, or I know they really do exist. So we know that my 103 likes on Facebook is genuine and legit. Twitter, I don't know, guy. I think you're phoning it in.
I take the time to tweet every night. If you tweet at me, chances are I'll give you a shout out, tweet you back. I think the Twitter's doing pretty well. So, there shouldn't be a contest. They should work in conjunction. But I know how you are. Everything's got to be a contest with you.
Well, sometimes I'm in it for myself, guy. Even though and you're actually right here. I feel like I'm Howard Stern and you're Baba Booey.
You're more like Robin Quivers because you lack a penis.
You know what? Robin Quivers is actually quite smart and talented, and she went to the Baltimore Broadcasting School as well, so she's a Baltimorean.
I'm proud of her.
Well, you should be, guy. You certainly should be. Yeah, some great stuff going on in the world of wrestling. Also on the independent scene, guy, we got a big show coming up from CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling.
Yes, we do. Coastal Championship Wrestling will be presenting a great night of wrestling June 16th, Coral Springs, at the Coral Springs Gymnasium. Their vacated title, Cahagas vacated that heavyweight title. There'll be a three-way dance going on between Stevie Richards, Sally Boy, and Pablo Marquez. Should be a great night of wrestling. Check out CCW events. Also, you can check out NWA Ring Warriors. They've been doing some promotion for it. As CCW and NWA Ring Warriors have gotten together with Pablo Marquez for the Main Event Training Center. It's a brand new state-of-the-art wrestling training down here in South Florida. You can check that out while you're at it. But check out CCW's page. I think it's ccwevents.com, something like that. You can certainly see the card for June 16th. It's next Saturday night.
Certainly is. Sounds like a great card. And you know what? I feel so close right now to the Coral Springs Gymnasium. It's not even funny. I feel like I can reach out and touch it. I used to live right behind it. I remember I was there before that was even built. That's how old school I am, old school.
Yeah, you are old school, as certain people like to say. I won't get too far into that, though. I think you might know where I'm going with that.
Well, that's good. Thanks for sparing me your lines of bullshit. Anyways, Guy, I did want to go ahead and talk about one other thing here, and that is, if you guys remember, Battle of the 90s, about, 2 weeks ago, we had Dab Savage versus Johnny Romano for Battle of the 90s, and the loser had to wear a dress at the next DCW show in Georgia, and Dab Savage was the loser, and he did wear a dress and had to hold up a sign that said he did the job on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. And make sure you check out our Facebook page because it is on there. It's also been linked to our Twitter page. So if you haven't seen the photo, make sure you go to it. He did wear the dress in the ring. We have a photo. And I just heard a rumor, guy, that there could be video out there as well.
Yeah, we can only hope. I haven't seen the picture, obviously. I hope to see the video if it is available. You can also see it directly on Dab's, on his Twitter as well. It's at Dab Savage, DABSAVAGE. So check out his Twitter as well. He had the picture posted on there as well.
He did have the picture. It's making its rounds, getting a lot of comments. And, I kind of spiced it up a little bit, and I added a little bit of border to that picture to get a little bit of spice. But, yeah, we're very pleased that Dab Savage is a great sport. He did come through and follow up on his word, unlike you, Guy, where, we talked about many things in the past, and you just don't follow through. So kudos to Dab for being a man.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
I don't have time to get into all this with you because you know what? We've got Wes Brisco joining the show in just a little bit, so don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll be live with Wes Brisco right here on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on Blog Talk Radio. Wes, thanks for being with us tonight.
What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great, man. Doing great. Great to have you on the show for a full-length interview here. I know we caught up with you at NWA Ring Warriors way back in late March, so it was great to chat with you back then, but now we got you on for a full interview, so we're very excited to have you on tonight.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm glad to be on.
Awesome, man. Well, we want to get in and start off with a few questions here for you. One of the questions is, obviously we got to chat with you a little bit at the Ring Warriors show and also got to meet your father, which is also very cool. He's, a legend in the wrestling business, WWE Hall of Famer. What's it like coming from such a respected wrestling family, and what are the expectations you really have to fulfill in your own career?
Well, of course, the bar is set really high for my dad, and of course, my Uncle Jack. The bar is set tremendously high, and of course, the tradition of, the actual amateur wrestling makes it into the sports entertainment. It's, been kind of tough, and, it's hard to follow, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job at it.
Obviously agree. I think you're doing a great job. But kind of following up on that, with such a famous last name in the wrestling business, do you feel at times it's helped you or, even held you back on the flip side at times?
I think it's done both. It's helped me to definitely get bookings and get my name out there, but it's also, hindered me a little bit because, people really looking at me and judging every movement I do, everything I do, and are super critical, which, of course I like because it makes, only thing that does is make me better and a better entertainer. So, of course, it's tough, but, it's good. And then, too, once I prove myself and people know that I'm not just here because of my last name, that I'm here because it's something that I want and it's something that I truly, believe in myself, then they have a whole another, picture of me.
That's a good point, too. And, growing up, did you know, since you were growing up around the wrestling business and a wrestling family, did you always know that you wanted to be a wrestler, or was that something that you discovered later on?
I've always had that itch, but it was definitely something came to me a little bit later on. I had the opportunity to become a professional wakeboarder and get to tour all around the world and be in the X Games and do a bunch of crazy extreme sports and get to see the world in different other ways. And then all of a sudden I got this weird itch, just like, I don't know, just something just kept drawing me, and I kept watching it, and I'd watch old footage of my dad, and then I gave him that call, and I was asking if he'd help me out, and he asked me, he goes, son, you serious? He goes, I'm not going to just allow you to do this. You're not going to give it 110%. And I was like, Dad, I'm going to give it 110%. And, he's been proud of me ever since.
Awesome. Now, you're from Tampa, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Tampa has such a rich history in pro wrestling. Did you attend many events as a kid? And if so, what memories do you have from those days?
Oh, there's been so many times. I remember one time when it used to be at the Sundome at USF. One day, Ricky Steamboat picked me up and brought me across the ring. And then I remember, of course, the old famous chair shots from Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow. And, there's so much good history down here. It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the cool things about Florida is that rich history, which I think people kind of still remember to this day. You spent some time working in WWE's developmental territory, FCW, which I believe is more closer to the Orlando area. Before that, you really got a nasty injury that kind of sidelined you. Can you talk a bit about that injury you faced during your time at FCW and why you feel you were released about a year ago around this time?
It was just a freak accident. I was going up to hit my finisher off the top ropes and just kind of landed a little weird and tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, and from there I knew I was done because it instantly swelled up. I was laying in the middle of the ring. I couldn't move. I couldn't walk, and there was a lot of things going through my head of what's going to happen, what's going on, and then probably about 4 months into physical therapy with my knee, I get the call saying I'm going to be released. And, I guess, they just didn't have anything for me. And, maybe they thought I wasn't going to heal 110%, but right now I healed up 110%. And, I look better than ever, and I'm working better than ever, and I'm getting more experience, getting to wrestle all these indies and getting to travel around and getting getting exposure to different styles of wrestling and not just their typical SCW style. I'm getting, experience overseas, everywhere.
Well, it brings up a good follow-up for me is because you have been reemerged on the indie scene, all over, but a lot down here in South Florida. Have you had any dialogue with FCW or WWE since your reemergence, or are you just kind of enjoying your time on the indies and kind of seeing where it takes you?
I'm just giving it everything I got, and, hopefully the right people will see it, and that's all it really takes is, the right eyes, stumbling across you, and, once those right eyes see me and realize how much of an asset I'm going to be to the company, I think they'll realize, what a mistake they made.
Yeah, I think anybody who's seen you wrestle knows, exactly what you can bring to the table. You've been working all over Florida. I'm in Florida, so I want to talk specifically about that. You worked with NWA Ring Warriors and FUW quite a bit. And, in fact, with FUW, you recently captured their Cuban title. Can you talk a little bit about those two companies and kind of what you bring to the table there and what you see happening with those companies?
Wow, those are two great companies that are coming up, especially Ring Warriors. They're doing a heck of a job of promoting and booking the right talent and getting the right indie guys out there. And right now, me and Cassidy are tagging up, and we are just absolutely rocking the house. We're selling out all the shows. Howard, Brody, and the people at Ring Warriors are doing a phenomenal job. I mean, it's just they put on one hell of a show. And then FUW is, of course, a little bit more underground, a little bit more hardcore, which, you know, shows another different style, but which also has great talent, good promotions, and they really treat all the guys good and really try to actually promote the talent and get the talent out there instead of just, you know, trying to screw over the talent.
Do you find that there's other companies on the Florida scene that are looking to bring you in as well? I know that in Orlando there's a lot of, quite a number of different wrestling promotions there. Have you had any talks with anyone in Orlando?
Yes, there's actually a big show coming up in Orlando that I'm doing on, I forgot the date. It's coming up pretty soon. Morrison's going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of people there. I'm just really right now just trying to get my name out there. I've been also doing stuff with Dory Funk over at Bang TV, going over there trying to help out his students out there, and, you know, just trying to go as many places as possible and just get my name out there.
Yeah, I saw on YouTube, it was on the Bang TV, where you actually worked a match with Dory Funk, and you slapped Funk in the figure four.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you should have, man, the crazy thoughts that were going through my head at that time and all the memories and all the old tapes, and it gave me goosebumps. I could not believe it. It was probably one of the best days of my life. I was so excited.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was such a wrestling legend like Dory Funk. I wanted to ask you, something that really makes you unique, especially in my opinion, is your tattoos. And now people who might see you maybe with not in the ring may not know, but you've got a lot of tattoos, almost like you're going for an entire body sleeve, I guess, or and it almost looks very tribal, very Native American-like. So can you talk a bit about the tattoos, how that kind of separates you from some of the other talent that's out there?
Well, you know, of course, a lot of my tattoos, they're different. I don't have them on my arms. I have them, you know, they're pretty much like pants. I got them from the feet all the way up to the rib cage, and each one of them tells a story. They're not just random tattoos. Or I didn't really get the tattoos to try to be some tough guy or be like, oh, I got tattoos, look at me. They all actually have a really, really deep meaning. Like the one on my back that says, that which doesn't kill me makes me stronger, which happened one of my first knee surgeries, and then when my best friend died. Kind of, you know, just to make sure I keep strong. And then a lot of them is Native American, which I'm called Choctaw, which I'm super proud of being Native American from the state of Oklahoma. A lot of it has a lot of heritage with that, and just kind of, you know, each one has just a crazy little meaning to them.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. Now, would you ever consider doing a Native American gimmick, or do you feel that's something that has already been done enough that you just kind of want to stick to who you are?
Kind of, you know, I would like to always have my nationality always involved, but I kind of think that it's not really the time and place in the future of wrestling to be a full-on Native American sports entertainer. It just doesn't. I don't know if that would really sell tickets right now. And I really think that, you know, my new gimmick, my personality, my style of wrestling, you know, I have a feeling that, you know, I can sell some tickets and definitely move some merchandise.
I certainly agree with that. Now, I want to circle back a little bit to your time in FCW, because with WWE now, I don't know how much you watch now, but obviously there's been an influx of some younger talent and some guys coming up from FCW. Being there for so long, you got to work with a lot of these guys and a lot of the, quote, stars of tomorrow with WWE. Is there anybody that you worked with in FCW that's already up on the main roster that, you know, maybe coming up soon that you think people should keep their eye on as like a next breakout kind of star?
Yeah, I mean, tell you the truth, man, I've been in the ring with all of them, from Brodus Clay to Sheamus to Heath Slater to Wade Barrett, to pretty much all the guys, but a lot of the new guys that haven't made it on TV yet. I think Bo Rotundo, I know he just changed his name to like Bo Dallas, and then Husky Harris, which He just changed his name. I don't know his new name, but those two kids, they are phenomenal, just phenomenal talent. And of course, Seth Rollins, he is one phenomenal, and Ambrose. They have a nice squad of people down there.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do have a nice, good set of wrestlers down in FCW, and you obviously worked in FCW and stuff, so you kind of know these guys. And a lot of the names you brought up are second, third generation stars. I know at one point there was some talk of even forming some type of faction in the WWE. I don't know if that was just a rumor, if there was any truth to that, of actually forming some type of stable of second generation wrestlers. Were you at any point a part of that? Was there any truth to that, or was that just rumors?
I never even heard anything about that. That would have been cool though, because there's a lot. They got the Usos. There's a lot of them that are just phenomenal talent, and man, the matches that we could have and the stories that we could tell would be phenomenal.
Right. I can't even imagine. I thought that would have been pretty cool, especially since there were so many of them. I thought it's because they kind of did the whole Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes type deal, and I think it was also Ted DiBiase as well. They kind of did their little stable, which was Legacy, and there were some rumblings that there could be something down the road, but I guess either that was just a rumor or nothing really came to fruition there. But I think there could have been something really cool behind that, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to ask you this question. Now, there are some really strict guidelines and a wellness policy in place for WWE, and yet there's still some talent who may violate this or find themselves suspended, or some of them, even in a more serious case, could be released. What is your opinion on this? What do you think is the greatest obstacle for those that find themselves on this list of violating the wellness policy?
Everyone has a set of rules that people got to follow, and it's whatever, but you got to follow the rules, and if you break the rules, then there's always consequences to the rules. So it's pretty much, I wouldn't make the mistake myself because I got some dreams, and I wouldn't want that to interfere with anything that I would have or any of my goals.
Exactly. That's the strangest part. Is you see sometimes some of the same names come up who violate those policies.
Yeah, they set rules for rules, and some people are gonna mess up, and sometimes it could be an honest mistake, and people do make mistakes. So I don't judge no one because technically it's really none of my business what other people do, as long as it doesn't affect me. So if it's taking money out of my pocket, then it's going to affect me. But what people do on their own time, that's their business, none of mine.
Good point. We have a question out of the chat room. The question is, who's your favorite person you've ever faced in the ring, and who's been your least favorite, and why?
Man, I've had a blast. There's been so many people I've had a blast with. I mean, Heath Slater has been one of my all-time greatest to be in the match. He's taught me so much, and then, of course, even Brodus Clay, I've had some phenomenal matches with him. The least favorite person that I would have to say to get in the ring with, well, I guess that guy, Count Frankfurter, but he got released as soon as I was there, but I hated him. We didn't get along at all. He wasn't really at FCW very long, but we didn't get along at all. But, not everyone can get along as long as you can go out there and handle business. That's all that matters.
And there's actually a little bit of shock coming from the chat room about your pick of Heath Slater, which I guess for fans who may not maybe know how talented Slater is, we actually had someone on the show months ago who actually trained with Heath Slater and really put him over as being a very talented and probably one of the most talented guys on the WWE roster who has not really hit his potential yet. Can you talk a little about Heath Slater and maybe do you think he's going to become something bigger on WWE?
Man, Heath Slater, he is a phenomenal athlete. He can do anything you ask him. He can be that fiery baby face or he can be that mean, cocky heel. I just really think that they just haven't given him an opportunity. And, again, all it takes is just that little bit of an opportunity to showcase his style, because if you ever watch, every time he's in the ring, there's not one mistake he doesn't do. There's not, everything is solid no matter what. He is from top to bottom, he's the full package. And plus he's a phenomenal person inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, actually, I want to touch on that. He and Justin Gabriel had a series of matches on NXT that were actually really, really good matches, and I feel like both of them, that if they gave them a little bit more airtime, they could really tear the house down because they really worked well together. But that leads me into one more question I wanted to ask you, Wes. Is, Heath Slater, guys like that, they came through on WWE's NXT program. Was there ever any talk for you to join NXT? And if not, kind of what was the criteria that they picked guys from for that program?
Plans for me, the night that I blew my knee, I was supposed to fly out to a pay-per-view and then do 2 weeks of the loop. So I don't really know what they were, they had some plans for me. I don't know if it was NXT or something bigger, but I have no idea. The people, how they picked NXT was pretty much, the people that were really the breakthrough people down at FCW, the people that were, or at least the first season, were really, handpicked the guys that they thought were really gonna, make a big impact in WWE.
All right, very cool. We have another question out of the chat room. The question is, how long are you going to nurse that Cuban title for?
Nurse that Cuban title for? Oh, man. Well, whoever can come and take it can come and try, take it from me. But right now there hasn't been, a challenger yet that's been able to take the Cuban title away from me.
Nice.
And I'm going to hold on to that baby.
Very, very cool. So we're going to move into what we call the name game. The rules are pretty simple. We're going to throw out a word or a phrase to you, and you can respond with whatever the first thing that comes to mind. Could be a story, could be something brief, however you want to respond to it. Are you ready?
All right.
All right. First one we're going to give you is Jerry Brisco.
Role model, phenomenal father, great person, hell of an athlete, great husband, all around great person. My hero.
Awesome, awesome. Next one we're going to give you here is the Funks.
Oh, legendary. Battles, blood, sweat, tears, bright lights, sold-out arenas.
All right. Next one we're going to give you is the Stooges, which was your father and Pat Patterson.
It was embarrassment until I figured out what they were doing. And once I realized that they were making people smile and entertaining people, that made me happy. And it was entertaining.
Fair enough. Steve Kern.
Phenomenal coach, great person. Oh, one of my favorites to watch old-time Florida Championship Wrestling with.
Very cool. Vince McMahon.
The boss, the man. The guy that can make all the dreams happen.
Good point. Next one we're going to give you is the biggest mistake one can make in the wrestling business.
Not believing in yourself.
Very cool. Worst wrestling gimmick ever.
Ooh. Oh, man. I don't know, because I'm a sucker for bad gimmicks. Goodness. I don't know. I'm gonna have to skip that one. I'm sorry. I like
come on, Wes. There's so many bad ones out there.
I don't know. I can't think of. I would have to say the Stooges because I hated that. I hated that as a kid. Oh, I got picked on so much for that. I had to fight so many kids over that. You have no idea. I saw your dad wearing a dress. Oh, you and Pat Patterson, they were running like little girls. I'd be so mad at school.
We got one out of the chat room as well, Wes. We want to ask you. It said to ask you who your biggest teenage girl fan is at Gasoline Alley.
Oh man, why you gotta stump me like this?
It came out of the chat room. We don't.
She's gonna kill me now. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with names. I'm like the worst person ever with names.
It starts with an R. Ends with an A.
Rachel? No. Wrong buzzer. Boo. No.
No, unfortunately not.
You want to take one more guess?
I don't know. I'm going to fail on that one. That one's a big womp, 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 womp.
It would be Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca. Oh, my God. She's going to kill me. That's not good one. Oh, that's not good.
All right, we're going to we'll shift gears, and I'm sure Rebecca will understand. Next one I want to ask you is a little different one. What is the greatest challenge for TNA to achieve success?
The greatest challenge would be, I would think, to travel more and get more of an audience, do more house shows, get out there more, because, you know, the more times you do house shows, the more people you're gonna create more fans, you know, get a bigger outreach of fans, not just stick to the Orlando. And I think, what do they do, Texas, and then New York, Boston,
yeah, they do a
New
few
Jersey
shows here and there. Yeah, they did a few in North Carolina.
Yeah, and their big one was, I think, was just in Texas. They just, you know, just need to expand a little bit more, you know, maybe California, just, you know, a little bit more house shows. And, you know, other than that, I think they're doing a great job. I think they're doing really good. I mean, Bruce Pritchard is really, you know, turning things around over there, the Bischoff and Hogan. I think, you know, they're doing a great job, and they just got to just, you know, keep on the grindstone.
Very, very cool. Let's get into the next one. You only got a couple more left. The next one here is going to be Jack Brisco.
Legend. Another one of my heroes. One of my best friends. Someone I could go and talk to. Someone that just, you know, loved me for who I was. Phenomenal amateur wrestler, football player. A great hero.
Very cool. Next one we're going to give you is something people don't know about you.
Maybe I got a sensitive side. You wouldn't think that, but I do.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I like to be, you know, a little sensitive and a little romantic type of guy.
I think you know, that's something that attracts women. Something, you know, women like to see a guy who's a little sensitive sometimes.
You never know. Sometimes they don't. But that's why you know, that's why a lot of people don't do nothing about me. You know, I gotta keep that, you know, under wraps a little bit. You know.
Well, I shouldn't have asked that question.
Let me tell everyone that now. Come on now. Okay, it's gonna be everywhere now.
It could be depending on what wrestling sites pick up the interview. It could be a lot of places. So I should have apologized in advance for that question.
I know, great.
And we got two more for you. A memorable tale from the road or a rib story you can share with us.
One time it was me, Percy Watson, and the Usos. We were driving back from, I don't know, some crazy redneck town out in the middle of nowhere. And we pulled over to the gas station, and we see Bill Carr and this guy named Foddy. And these two guys were, you know, a little crazy. This guy Foddy, he was a little not in the head. I mean, he just wasn't there. And he decided to leave his car running, you know, unlock everything, go inside the store. So Percy Watson runs out, jumps in his car, moves his car, hides it. And, boy, you should have saw the look on their faces when they walked out. They thought he had he was literally freaking out. We laughed so hard, I think we all peed our pants. It was probably one of the best ribs I've ever seen. It was a good one.
That sounds pretty good.
If you would have known this guy, he literally didn't know what to do. Like, plus he had no clue because he wasn't from Florida. He had no idea if he was who to call, if we call a cop. Like, he just looked like, and we let him sell it for like 10, 15 minutes. We were just parked in the corner, doesn't even realize we're in the car, just laughed and died so hard. It was hilarious. It was funny.
Nice. We actually we have a live caller on the line. Caller, you were live here tonight with the Dear Job Wrestling Hour with Wes Brisco. Caller, what name are you calling from?
Hey, I'm in Largo, Florida here. You got the Stack Man. Wes Brisco, my daughter here is freaking out.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I better give the phone to her and let you apologize to her, man.
Ooh.
Oh man, in the doghouse now, huh?
Hey.
I'm so sorry. I promise I will make it up to you.
Okay.
Don't be
forgive
mad,
Wes?
please. I'll make it up to you. I promise.
Okay.
All right. Well, I see you this Tuesday at Gasoline Alley.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Well, I hope so. That's a burn right there, I think. Well, hopefully I'll see you there. I'll make it up to you. I promise.
Okay.
Thank you for the call.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for the call.
All right. All right.
Oh, you guys are just burning me left and right here. Holy moly! Goodness gracious.
Listen, we're just doing our normal show here. I mean, we can't help the fact that
I'm breaking hearts. You
are.
All my dirty secrets. What is going on here, guys?
I think Wes did not know what he got himself into.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
You sound more insensitive than sensitive right now, Wes.
Oh, damn. Another thing. Goodness.
All right, Wes. Let me give you one last one, and we'll let you off the hook. Last one we have for you is: what is the future for Wes Brisco?
Oh, the stars, baby. The stars. Either headline WrestleMania. That's the future. That's my goal. That's my only goal. And the stars are the limit. And baby, I'm not just going to be that one star. I'm going to be that big, bright North Star. The biggest, brightest star they have out there.
That's awesome. Well, we hope one day you get there, man. We're big supporters of you. We always love to have you back on the show. As you're a great interviewer, you're a really stand-up guy, great guy. So it's awesome to have you on the show, and hopefully you do achieve that, because how awesome would that be that you got to that point, and to kind of follow in your father and your uncle's footsteps. That would be quite awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it'll happen. I believe in myself.
I believe it will too. Anything else you wanted to plug or talk about before we wrap up here tonight?
Nothing. Just pretty much, you guys feel free to follow me, Wes Brisco, on Twitter and on Facebook, and pretty much on Twitter, post some crazy pictures of surfing, wrestling, all the crazy stuff in my life I do, skydiving, surfing, pretty much all the wild things I do. So follow me on that, and I enjoy doing you guys' show. I'm looking forward to the next time.
Awesome. And also make sure you like Wes Brisco on Facebook at his actual Facebook account, which is facebook.com/wes.brisco.1. That is the website for Wes Brisco, and at Wes Brisco on Twitter. And also, Wes, you're on Instagram as well, too, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely on Instagram, too.
Awesome. Plenty of places to check you out. So very, very cool. Before we wrap up here tonight, would you mind doing a drop for the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour we can play on future shows?
Oh, I would love to.
Awesome, man. Well, the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
This is Wes Brisco on Do Your Job Radio. Tune in the next time.
Awesome, Wes. Well, thanks again for being with us. We certainly appreciate it. Good luck, man. We wish you only the best and look to have you back on again in the future.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can.
That was Wes Brisco live here on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. So great stuff, old school, man. A lot of stuff we want to get and wrap up here. So don't go anywhere, folks. We are going to return live on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on Blog Talk Radio.
Don't tap out, tweet out. We're on Twitter at Do Your Job with underscores after the J.O.B. Like us on Facebook, and we'll be your friend with benefits. It's the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour.
Hey guys out there, this is Jesse Neal. You are listening to Do Your Job Wrestling Radio Show. And if you're not opening your ears and listening and trying to learn something, well, why don't you just shut up, get in the ring, and actually do your job.
Welcome back to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, live on Blog Talk Radio. I'm the ConKaiserdor. Alongside with me is old school Avis Hathaway. We were just joined by Wes Brisco. Old school, great interview here tonight.
Yeah, as always, good interview. Wes Brisco is a great guy to talk to. We had the pleasure of meeting and chatting with him for a while, like you said, at NWA Ring Wars back in the end of March. He's a great guy. The sky's the limit for him. He's a really good worker, really nice guy. Like he said, follow him on Twitter at Wes Brisco. like him on Facebook, and keep an eye out.
Indeed. So great stuff here tonight, bud. Absolutely. Make sure you tune into our show next week. We originally weren't going to do a show. We were supposed to be off on the 17th, but we decided to do a show on the 17th. So next Sunday, we will have on the show a return of one Tommy Vandal. Tommy Vandal will be joining us, as well as Future of Wrestling FOW referee Chuck Oren will also be with us as well. So we're going to have Tommy Vandal and Chuck Oren on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. That is June 17th. And then June 24th, we're going to be joined by Maxwell Chicago. If you don't know Maxwell Chicago, you will come June 24th. He is a staple in Florida Underground, which is out of the Largo, Florida area. So we're very excited to have Maxwell Chicago come on the show June 24th. And then July 1st, we will have the Maryland Championship Wrestling Champion, the Heavyweight Champion, which is no joke. It is the Samoan Tsunami, Nui Tofinga. He'll be on the show July 1st. We already had him on last year, so he's coming back to the show to give a big splash here to all of our listeners. And they got a big show coming up, the Shamrock Cup MCW, so we're going to have great stuff to talk about there. And then also July 8th, we're not going to announce who it is yet. Stay tuned, but July 8th, we got a big show coming up as well with a top female athlete on the independent scene, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And also, guys, following that show, July 22nd, we'll be joined by the King of Florida, Francisco Ciazzo. How cool is that to have him on the show? He's one of the most well-respected independent wrestlers on the scene, especially in Florida, so he'll be joining us. And then July 29th, guys, the Do Your Job Studios will need reinforcement as two of the largest wrestlers out there, the Hardliners, are coming to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. They're the new FOW champions. And all I can say is, whoa, we better be prepared for that interview.
Yeah, we might need to reinforce the phone lines talking to them. These are two big fellas, if you haven't seen them. They actually just defeated good friends of the show, the Red Devil Fight Team, for the FOW titles. These are two giant men, so that should be fun to talk to.
Indeed. Very exciting stuff in the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, guy. We promised that spring and summer would be smoking hot. And you know what, guy? I don't think we've disappointed.
No, I don't think so. And, you know, it's not even over yet. We're going to have a lot more announcements, a lot more guests. Be sure, follow us on Twitter at DoYourJob_ between J.O.B. Tons of updates, news, stuff about the show, giveaways, contests, all kinds of good stuff on there.
Absolutely. And also like us on Facebook. Just search for the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Check out some of our archive shows on demand. If you're just joining the show, you're a new listener, some great shows on our archive. We have interviews with Bruce Santee. We have interviews with Tokyo Monster Cahagas, Alex Wright of WCW, Glacier, Lash LaRue. I mean, the list goes on, guy. Gilbert. I mean, Joel Gertner. We have so many interviews. Right.
We had Jesse
Neal last week. So we have so many. We have Lindsay Dorado. I mean, we have so many great interviews. Also, we've interviewed a lot of the wrestlers from Micro Championship Wrestling, you know, many female wrestlers out there, up-and-comers, and we really have gotten out there, guys. Excellent stuff. We always try to bring you the best in the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, so hopefully everyone will tune in again next week as Tommy Vandal and Chuck Oren will be our special guests right here on the show. So we're going to go watch True Blood, as it is the season opener here for True Blood. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Big thanks to Wes Brisco for being our guest here tonight. And hopefully we'll see everyone back here next week for a great show on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. So for Old School with Hathaway and myself, ConKaiserdor, we're going to say goodnight from Do Your Job Studio South, and we'll see you next Sunday with Tommy Vandal and Chuck Oren. Good night, everybody.